8 out of 10 women who are childless didn't intend to be childless. It's called involuntary childlessness. Around about 10% of women are physically incapable of having kids for a variety of reasons. 10% said that they actually didn't intend to have children, and that leaves a whopping 4 out of 5 who didn't have children due to life circumstances. That's the most common reason for it, and the most common life circumstance is leaving it too late to find a partner and then have kids. You break through that fertility window on the other side. These women who get into their 40s, who always intended to have a family, who realize that they now can't, they go to support groups, and these women are grieving for families that they never had, which is just brutal. Like, to think that you can grieve for something that didn't occur.
Women who choose not to have children are selfish. I know this is going to be controversial. I just think, for an example, I have 23 children. So I am 23 times less selfish than a woman with no children. I can fit 23 times more love in my heart. And I can fit 23 times the amount of tampons inside of me at once as a woman with no kids. Does that make me better? Yes. I just feel like if you're not going to have kids, what's the point? Why, woman? Why?
If you're not having kids, you're selfish. You should be having kids, sharing your knowledge, your resources, everything you have to give with the next generation. Kids are literally the best thing that is going to happen to you. You should start earlier than you think that you are ready. Having kids will actually make you ready, because when you have that forcing function in your life of kids, you will do whatever it takes for these little human beings.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amomi, aka Petite Diva, and in this video we are checking out single child-free men and women share why they don't want to have kids, the advantages of not having kids, and if they will regret not having kids later on in future. Let's check out what they have to say, and then I'll come back to share my thoughts.
I have a question, and it's a very specific question, and if this doesn't apply to you, then please scroll past. But if you are 40s and up, so 40s, 50s, 60s, even more than that, if you are 40s and up and a woman, or even a woman with a partner who has gone their entire life childless, please tell me what your life is like now, because I've been told multiple times by family members, family friends, sometimes friends, but pretty rarely, that once I get older and I can't have kids anymore, or I choose not to have kids, once I get older, you know, I'm going to see my friends have kids, and I'll either be jealous that I'm not having kids that are interacting with them, or that I'll lose out on something, or that, you know, I'll be older and I'll be sad because I don't have, you know, children around me and grandchildren. I need to know from someone who I envision myself being later on in life. I need to know specifically from someone who is, you know, either in their 40s or beyond, you know, either around that age or retiring or whatever, that you are either happy with your life, or give me the cold hard truth. Let me know how you feel. I want to know, do you feel like you lost out? Do you feel like you're confident and happy with your choice? I want to know the actual truth on this, because I'm tired of having that same thing told to me, and I need to know from somebody else what their thoughts are on that, and if I'm going to be missing out on something. And because I just, at this point in my life, I don't want kids, and I mean, it could change. Tell me if you think you made the right decision. Please tell me what your life is like now.
So this young woman isn't particularly interested in having kids, but she's getting pressure from family and friends that if she doesn't have kids, she's going to miss out in life somehow. And so she wanted to hear from women above 40 who didn't have kids what their life is like now, and do they have any regrets about not having kids. I'm in my 50s, and I'm an auntie and a godmother, and I can tell you I have zero regrets, none whatsoever, about not having kids. I've got to have some incredible experiences. And I am very fortunate that I have parents, given being Filipino and Catholic, that they never pressured me to have kids. They told me, go live your best life, be fulfilled, enjoy life, be happy, do what you want to do. And so I did. What did it for me was, instead of asking, do I want to have kids, I asked myself, do I want to be a parent? Do I want to take on the financial, spiritual, emotional, and psychological responsibility of being a parent? And especially given the things happening in the world with the climate crisis, financial crisis, I had some health issues. And given all that, the answer was quickly no. And it's okay. If you don't want to be a parent, it's okay. The notion that women have to have kids in order to be fulfilled in life is changing, and a lot of people are having a problem with that, right? So living your best life as a woman is supposed to include, having kids and having a family. And for a lot of us, that's not in our criteria to be fulfilled and happy in life. Now, there was a period when I was 39 where there was some desperation that kicked in, where I was like, oh my God, if I want to have a family, I got to do it now. And what happened was I was in a bad relationship, and that is no way to start a family, feeling desperate to have kids because you feel like you're running out of time. I am also not child-free or childless. I'm an auntie and a godmother, and I have plenty of children in my life. What I am free of is the responsibility of parenting, and I'm good with that. So I'll give you the same advice my parents did. Go live your best life. Have fun. Be fulfilled. If that involves kids, great. If not, that's okay too.
I remember when that question was asked when I was 34.
Yeah.
And it was the only time I thought to myself, can't wait to be older to answer this question. I just know I'm going to be able to say that it's a bunch of bullshit. So now I'm telling you it's a bunch of bullshit.
Yes.
It's a bunch of bullshit. And me having friends with children and grandchildren, the sadness, the disappointments, the expectations not met. My dearest friend just died. I was with her for the last 7 months. She's a mom of 2. I think they visited once. They live in the neighborhood.
Wow.
It was her friends who fed her, who held her, who cried with her, who brought her food, who massaged her, who put, a cream on her, who decorated the room. The nurses came in and said, this is hospice. We have never seen a room like this, and we have never seen so many people coming and going. Why? Does she have a large family? No, she has friends.
Yeah.
Wow.
Make friends. They're the answer. And younger, too.
80% of my life problems were solved by not having kids. When I get paid, my whole check go to me. I ain't dividing it. I ain't none of that. I can lay in bed all day, and I ain't gotta worry about cooking nobody breakfast. I ain't gotta worry about registering nobody for school. Baby, let me tell you something. Being single and childless is really a gift. I literally have a different level of freedom. My life does not come with restrictions, a schedule. Don't let this hypersexual generation deceive you. Do not move too fast. Allow your steps to be ordered by the Lord. The Bible says a righteous man's steps are ordered by the Lord. So when you go out and try to do things your own way, you're going to make a disaster. I don't care how much you try to lie to yourself, how much you try to deceive people. You will literally suffer when you try to do things outside of God's will. So when the Bible says singleness is a gift, I'm a living witness. I'm proof. Y'all go read the Isaiah 54 woman, the single and childless woman. Go read about her. I know all in church, they promoted the Proverbs 31 woman, the virtuous wife. But go read who the Isaiah 54 woman is. I'm telling you, that is a powerful woman. And I believe that I am that woman. And this is the season I'm in. And I love it. I love it. I And whatever God wants for me, I want it. But if he wants me to be in this place of singleness, I will stay here. But if you want to send me a husband, if you want to bless me with kids, I'm cool. God, I want what you want for me. I don't want to miss it. But I won't complain. Whatever place I'm in, I won't complain. And I will enjoy and make the best of it.
For people who are choosing not to have kids, did anybody else think that that decision was going to be like way harder than it turned out to be? Like, I think throughout my 20s, I kept anticipating that at some point I'd have to sit down and really reflect and think about what path I wanted my life to go down. And instead, just no maternal urge has ever come up. And I'm not like an I hate kids person. I just don't want to raise one. I think the fact that you can hear my cat's water fountain in the background kind of sums it up. But I think you hear about the idea of like baby fever so much that I kept waiting for it. And I've heard the whole baby fever idea both from people who are kind of like, oh, you say that now, and also from people who are very supportive. Like, I had a really cool hairstylist who was like, the baby fever is going to hit at 32. You just have to fight through it. That's what I did. And then I lived in France for a year. And it's like, got it. But so no baby fever hitting has been like a little bit jarring. Or I've been like, well, if we lived in a safer world, would I feel differently? But I know friends who pay attention to the news and really, really wanted kids. I remember the first time it fully hit me that I didn't want kids and I wasn't just like being indecisive. And it was hearing about a friend of a friend who's going through IVF alone. Like, she wanted to be a mom so bad that she was ready to do it by herself. And I think it totally shifted every way that I was looking at it, because it was like, I think I was imagining motherhood as this period of time where I would suddenly be a different kind of person. Like, I think some part of me thought that at some point in adulthood, you reach a stage where you could just find time for parenthood, which obviously sounds stupid. But I watch the parents I know balancing their day, and I'm just awestruck by it. This is going to be a deep cut. I don't know if anyone's read the book Olive Kitteridge, but it's about this woman who's like very unpleasant and a bad mom, and like the ripple effect that kind of has. But there's this moment where she's like meeting her sons, or she's like talking to her son's wife, and a kid runs by it, and her son's wife like just unconsciously like rubs her fingers through the kid's hair, and it's such a like natural movement. And Olive takes it in, like realizing like it is not an instinct she'd ever have. And I don't resonate with like her being an awful woman, but that's something that's always really, really resonated with me, of like, that's how I feel when I see people interacting with kids, where I'm just like, I don't have that. I think the parent conversation is so often framed as like, what if you regret it? What if you look back and regret it? And I think, man, I would so much rather regret not having kids than to bring kids into this world and have them feel unwanted.
29 and childless right now. Majority, if not all of my friends have a kid or two, or maybe even three. And I can't lie, before my friends had kids, I felt like I'd be a mother already. I really did believe that I would have kids mid-20s. After we got married, I was 25. I thought that we would pretty much get married and start to have kids. But as I sort of saw how parenthood unfolded for my friends and how stressful and how much it was, it kept making me push back further and further as to when we wanted to start a family. I'm like, you know what, let's actually live a bit more now, because everybody's soul seems stuck. And it's not like they're not having a great time. Like, they love their kids. They're great parents. It's amazing to see. But truly, like, majority, if not all of my friends have completely changed, and I don't know that they're happier. Obviously, you can't really reverse that shit. Like, you're kind of stuck where you are once you have them. You can't put them back up. Seeing this all unfold really has put into perspective just how much of your life is consumed and how much of yourself you lose when you're a parent. I don't think people were being honest before this generation. I think now people are being more honest about the struggles, and people are showing up online and sharing so much of what was never communicated to people, and everybody sort of just did the damn thing. But now I'm thinking, like, fuck, I really gotta want this. I really have to want this and be willing to give up my entire life, my entire soul, and my entire personality.
The reason why I know I can't have kids is because I absorbed the Nigerian gene of not being able to accept my child for what they are. There are some things that would piss me the fuck off. One, if my child said they didn't want to go to college and didn't really appear to have a real plan to make money anyway, that would piss me the fuck off. Two, teenage pregnancy. And this isn't meant to be shade to anyone I know who went through this, or anyone who is going through this, or anyone who went through this, but that would piss me the fuck off. I'm sorry. Like, I barely wanted you, now I have a grandkid early. Are you serious? Like, that shit, no. I couldn't do that. There are a lot of things that would just piss me off that my child did. I think one thing that would really annoy me is that my child would be in a position of relative privilege to other people. And if they didn't live up to the potential that their privilege will hold, that would piss me off to no end. None of that drug addiction, fall off the wagon even though you had everything given to you shit. That would really annoy me. I'm sorry, it would. It would. And I feel bad saying it because I know it's wrong. And that's why I know I can't have kids. Like, I've already said it, I'm not having kids. Because I really wouldn't be able to love them unconditionally. I'm sorry. And I don't get how other parents do it. And I kind of understand, even though I criticize them, but I kind of understand the parents who do struggle with these things and don't respond in the best way. Another thing, and again, this is going to sound bad, but the hoe shit. I could not have my child under the age of 18 fucking around with someone's poorly raised, broke child. It would be one thing if I knew the parents, knew they were coming from a good home, knew that, like, if this situation were to potentially last, even though the odds of that are low, if it were to last, my child would be in good hands. Like, that's one thing. But if it's just anybody, that would really piss me the fuck off. At any age, to be honest, that would really, really, really annoy me. And I don't know, like, and again, it's interesting because I've been the friend to people whose parents didn't accept these situations, and I've literally been the friend where I'm like, they're being unreasonable, they're being this. But now, as an adult, no, that would really throw me. I'm sorry. That would really throw me as a parent. And once again, that's why I'm not having kids.
A lot of people don't want to have kids because they don't want to have to sacrifice their own happiness and their own pleasure for somebody else. And I think that's admirable that you know that about yourself, because a lot of people are going to be like, you're so selfish. But it's like, yeah, I know I'm selfish. I know I'm selfish. And therefore, I don't want to have to add anybody into this space that I might end up abusing because I'm selfish, because I'm weird. And sometimes I watch things that remind me of a Saturday morning on Lifetime. I was watching Mama Flora's Family, the miniseries, and it perfectly illustrated why a lot of people don't want to have kids. Because there was a scene where a mama played by Erica Alexander was sitting at a table with her 2 kids, and her daughter just finished her chicken, and she put up the bone and she said, "Can I have another?" And Erica Alexander was about to take a bite of her chicken, and she looked at her daughter, and then she handed her her piece of chicken. And I know some of you are not going to be able to do that. She didn't have enough money. She didn't have enough food. Her child was hungry, and she fed her child her food. Now, some of y'all would have had children starving because you would have been like, I gotta eat too. And some of y'all would say, you need to be grateful for the little that we do have while you eat your chicken in front of your child. But some people have the heart of being a parent that would give their child their chicken. They just don't want to give that child that chicken, so that's why they're not having a child. People want to feel comfortable that they are going to be able to reliably feed themselves and their children because they do not want to have a hungry child. And if their child is fed, they want to make sure they can eat too.
Hey babe, so let me tell you why I'm going to continue to say it's a flex to say that you do not have kids if you do not want kids. I'm just going to Walmart to get me some pancakes because I'm about to make me a bomb breakfast. And I had to go to the school supply section because I needed some more notepads because I like to journal. So as I'm coming down the aisle, it's a lady and her 3 kids. One's outside the cart and 2's inside the cart. One of the kids in the cart is jumping up and down. The lady, she's like telling them to stop, but you know, kids are being kids. So he's jumping. The boy jumps and lands right on top of the eggs, the eggs bust out of the carton all over the school supplies that's already in the cart, all over the food, everything. Eggs is everywhere, and the kid got eggs all over his shoes. The mom just stopped and she's just looking up at the ceiling like, and as I'm walking past, I'm just like, no kids. No kids. And I'm going to continue to say it's a flex if you don't have them and you don't want them right now.
Imagine literally having the worst day of your life. Like, you're on the brink of tears, you're on the brink of a fucking mental breakdown. And something goes, Mommy.
I'll do you better than that. What if on top of all that, you having a mental breakdown, you're in tears, somebody's calling you mommy, somebody else is asking, what's for dinner? I'm hungry. And imagine this person is older than you, and they are perfectly capable of boiling water themselves, if he wanted to. He's perfectly capable of taking care of his own children if he wanted to, but he doesn't want to. Yeah, it's 2024. I'm gonna need y'all to stop being ignorant when it comes to why somebody doesn't want that. As to why somebody does not want a family in 2024. It's not even including the cost of living. On top of that, I gotta deal with 2 children. Yeah, I think the fuck not.
I want to know, what are your top 3 reasons for remaining child-free?
So for me, I just don't think the positives outweigh the negatives. I think when we think about having a family, having kids, we think about the good times, like hearing a baby laugh for the first time, teaching it to walk, playing with your kids when they're older. But that's like 5% of what you get. And the rest of it is just stress. It's screaming and not sleeping for like 5 years and getting pooped on, and they're always sick and they always have a fever. It's being solely responsible for the development of this young person, literally every second of your life. You have to spend all of your time and your effort and your money on making sure that this kid survives and then turns into a decent human. And for me, like, the nice moments that I think about when I think about having kids just aren't enough to make up for the rest of it.
First of all, if you think you don't want kids, don't let anyone talk you into it.
Yep, all of this. As a teacher who works with kids, I do not want kids. And every single time that I say that, somebody wants to chime in and try to change my mind. I even had one woman tell me that my motherly instincts would kick in after I gave birth, and then I would want to be a mom and take care of the kid. Here's the thing though. What if I don't? Like, let's say I take everyone's advice and finally decide I'm gonna have kids, even though I don't want them. Everyone else is saying I'm gonna want them once I have them. And I have kids, and I hate those motherfuckers. What do I do at that point? I can't do anything. They're already here. I would rather not gamble with somebody else's life like that. Or we can take this a step further. I watch a lot of true crime, and there are a lot of stories on there of mothers unaliving their kids. And when they get to trial and everyone hears about the story, they're like, oh my God, if she didn't want kids, she shouldn't have had kids. Not saying I would do that or anything, but like, think about that shit. Not everyone is meant to be a parent.
Watch this video and then I'll be back.
By 2030, 45% of working women ages 25 to 45 will be non-married, no kids, single.
So what's wrong with that?
So you might say, well, what's wrong with that? If you think that you're going to genuinely be fulfilled in life because you made money, best of luck to you.
Okay, so he had one perspective. I'm going to give you another. And this one's coming from an actual woman who was single and child-free and fulfilled. When I was a little child in the 70s, my grandmother and her 2 sisters, all very well-educated women, especially for that time period, looked at me and said, never depend on a man. And I was like, I'm 5. But what they were trying to instill in me was that my independence was important. They knew that a good education, especially at that time, led to financial freedom. And when you have financial freedom, you make better decisions for your life. I was married for 22 years. We never shared a bank account and we never had joint credit cards. When I got my amicable divorce, my lawyer said it was one of the easiest that he had ever done. And I wasn't planning on getting divorced, but having financial independence definitely made it easier. And it helped me with the decision that it was time to leave. I never felt trapped. I knew that I had my own money, and I knew that I had 4 college degrees. Whoever comes into my life at this point is here because I want them here, not because I need them here. I have a fantastic and supportive boyfriend, and he's in my life because I want him in my life. He doesn't pay any of my bills. We don't live together, and I have no intentions of getting married. I have a fantastic and supportive family. I have a huge group of female friends. I have a job that I love. I have hobbies I adore. I feel valued, connected, and fulfilled. I don't have a husband, and I don't have children. If you want a husband and you want children, great, please do it. That will be fulfilling for you. I just don't want you to listen to some guy with a podcast saying that you will be a miserable old crone if you don't do these things. Only you know what's right for you, and that's what you have to follow.
You know what's even more socially unacceptable today than being a woman who doesn't want kids? The reason you don't want kids. I and so many women I know have spent years trying to justify why we don't want kids, saying, oh yeah, no, I love kids, I just, and then give your reason as if you have to justify it. And truly, one of my reasons for not wanting kids is the one you're never allowed to say, which is, I don't really like kids. Sure, there's a couple of kids I like. My nephew's really badass. I have some friends with some truly awesome kids. But in general, I don't like kids. But when you're a woman who says you don't like kids, oh man, do you need to be prepared for the wrath that you are going to get because you are supposed to like kids. You are supposed to want children. You're supposed to love all children. And yet if you're a man that doesn't like kids, doesn't like being around kids, doesn't have anything to say to kids, no one thinks twice about it.
We argued about putting shoes on for a fucking hour today. An hour. Do you know what that's like?
No, I can't say I do. But you have a fun time with that. And people still struggle to understand why some of us don't want kids.
I'm a professional kid haver, and these are some reasons that I think you shouldn't have kids. Number one, you shouldn't have kids if you don't like kids. You might be thinking, wow, that's pretty obvious, but based on the amount of parents that I've met who have multiple children and literally just don't like them, I guess this is groundbreaking. Number two, don't have kids if you love babies only. Babies only last for a year, and after that, you have to take care of them as a toddler, as a kid, as a teenager, as an adult. Like, this is for life. It's not just a baby. Lastly, I don't think you should have kids if you're asking what's in it for you and what the benefits of having a kid are. It's not about you. I think people get confused because when you're pregnant with your first baby, everyone's so excited for you. You have the baby shower, everything's all about you, but it's never about you. I don't know if that's blunt, but the point of having a baby isn't to benefit you. It's quite literally to benefit the child. I feel like if you're asking what's in it for you, I just feel like you're missing the point.
I'm starting to see a lot of women and men saying, thank God I don't have a baby. I don't want no kids.
Yeah.
Having kids used to be a beautiful thing.
Right.
Now it seems like a lot of people don't want it at all.
It's true.
So I think it has a lot to do with how poor we are as a generation.
Agreed.
And also how free we want to be. And you can't be broken free. They can barely take care of themselves. So they're saying, how the hell can I take care of a kid?
Thought of having to strap a kid into the car every time I get into the car? No, thank you.
Did y'all see that? That was my comment. That was me. Because my comment got mentioned in that video, I've decided to tell you guys my own personal reasons why I've chosen not to have children. Number one, I can never wear anything cute ever again. That little kid is gonna stick, smear, or spill something on my outfit and piss me the fuck off. 2, I love to travel. What I'm not gonna do is let my vacation be ruined by some little kid because she wanna have a tantrum in the middle of the beach. Number 3, so for like the first year of that baby's life, they can't walk yet. So you have to carry them everywhere. Whether it's in your hands, in a carrier, in a car seat, in a stroller, you gotta carry them everywhere. What if I'm out walking with a carrier and I gotta break into a sprint because somebody started shooting? What am I gonna do? Book it with the kid? That little fucker's gonna slow me down. Think about that one helpless lady in every destruction scene in every movie. My baby! That's not gonna be me. I feel like I should make a series out of this. I have so many more reasons.
Some of the pros of being child-free. I'm going to preface this by saying, number one, these are just my opinions. Number two, this is not a negative thing towards people who do have children. I feel like oftentimes when child-free people talk about the pros of not having kids, it can sometimes be misconstrued as an attack on people who do have children, and I absolutely do not feel that way at all. 100% in the camp that everyone should do what is best for them. If you want children, have them. If you don't want them, don't have them. First thing is not having any responsibility. I am somebody who likes to do whatever I want, whenever I want. My husband and I love to travel, whether it's for a big trip or just a small little thing. Even though I've not been a parent, when you have a child, everything changes and you have to worry about what the child needs before you. Second thing is money. I'm not saying that every person who doesn't have kids has more money. It is obviously a financial responsibility to have children. I just like not having someone to be financially responsible for other than myself and my husband, and we're 2 adults, so we will figure it out. Biggest one for me is living life on my terms. The thing I did when I was deciding if I wanted kids or not is I looked into the future and I thought about my goals and my dreams, and I realized that not once was being a mother or having a child a part of that. I'm gonna clarify, I'm not saying that you cannot achieve your dreams and goals with a child. That's not what I'm saying. I don't really want to be a mother. I don't really want to be fully responsible for someone. I just want to live my life for me and my husband. People might say that's selfish, but I think it is better to know yourself and know that you don't want to have children than have kids that you don't really want and then it ends up turning out into resentment. Everybody has different reasons for wanting kids or not wanting kids. The biggest pro that I really have is that I'm doing what's best for me.
Why don't you want kids? It looks absolutely amazing. Why wouldn't you want it? Why wouldn't you want to experience this kind of joy and happiness? Because everything I'm seeing online is this. Everything I'm seeing is moms basically being harassed, not being able to eat, not being able to finish a freaking marathon because the children are just being dumped onto them. Because I'm seeing videos of mom being like, I was sick for a day and I'm coming home and this is what the kitchen looks like and it's a whole disaster. Because fathers spending time with their children are babysitting the kids today. No, you're not babysitting the kids. You're taking care of your own children. Why is it babysitting when the dads are spending time with their kids? Because they're never asking fathers, how are you doing with being a father and also working at the same time? Because no matter what you do, you're going to be judged regardless as a mother. The expectations are so much higher than they are for the father. Always. Because at the end of the day, the burden is always on the mother. That is the reality. And it just truly feels like moms can't catch a break. That's everything I'm seeing is showing me that. Tell me if I'm wrong, please. Moms, please chime in.
Hey, Gen Z, younger millennials. Aunt Gen X here. When I was your age, I said the same exact thing. I don't want kids. All of the older generations warned me. They were like, you're going to regret that. You're going to change your mind later. It's the most fulfilling thing you can do in life. What are you going to do when you retire and you need people to look after you? And guess what? I'm 42 now. And I don't regret that shit at all. Because I knew it was best for me. And I knew better than to fucking gamble with a human life and take strangers' opinions over mine. And understand that those people don't give a shit about the quality of your life. They're just uncomfortable with you deviating from societal norms. And as for what I'm gonna do when I'm older, same fucking thing people with kids will be doing. Spending time in a retirement home. My retirement home is gonna be bougie as fuck because I've been saving up for it with the extra money from not having kids.
I don't normally make this kind of video, but this comes up a lot in my life. So here's why I'm never having kids. Okay, first off, kids are expensive. I mean, kids are expensive and I'd rather spend that money on things that make me happy, like my animation projects and such. I'm kind of a nut job. Honestly, I'm a little bit crazy and I don't want to pass any of those traits on to another generation. Kids themselves. Have you met kids? There are a lot. It feels unfair. Like it feels unfair to bring a kid into this world right now. Like with the economy and climate change, like the future is looking a little bleak. Kids take up time. Any parent will tell you kids are really, really time consuming. And I'd rather spend that time doing something that makes me happy. Gaming. Look, I have one gaming console and I'm gonna be the one that plays it. My wife. Like I love my wife a lot and I love spending time with her and I wouldn't want anything to interrupt that time and I feel like having kids would interrupt my time with her. The screaming. You know that high-pitched screaming that kids do when they run around the pool? Ugh, just throw me in front of a bus. And most importantly, I have no desire to be a parent. It's just that feeling is not there and it's never been there.
One benefit of not having children that I don't think we talk about enough is that you never have to hear a man say, "We're pregnant."
There's some things about being child-free that I don't think the child-free community talks about a lot, or maybe this is just how I feel, but there are some fears that I have and some of the reasons why I do not want to have kids. And I just wanted to give the three that I feel like, yeah, I'm really scared. I am really scared and I'm not a risk taker. I have no intention of changing these fears. These fears will live forever. And for those of you who go down this path, more power to you. First big fear about having kids is that I don't want to give my kids a bad dad. And I'm talking about the entire spectrum of bad dadness. I'm talking about absent, doesn't call them, doesn't even acknowledge their existence to. He's in the house, but he doesn't participate. You know, he's not a good dad. You know what I mean? And like they tell us to pick better. And the stress of picking better has me picking none. Because why is it on me? But I feel like I would get mad at me. I know myself. If I have like the kind of one who like makes the kids wait to pick them up and like they sit at the door waiting for dad to come and he doesn't come, it's not my fault. But I know I'll be mad at me. And I'm so scared. I can't have that happen to me. And the only way to prevent that is to not participate at all. Yeah. Yeah. Before you start saying, oh my gosh, Shalom, just fix that and you'll be fine. There's part one of why I do not want kids. It's pinned. I'm wearing orange. Number two is that I cannot risk my kid dying before me. Of course, this is completely out of my control. I have control issues. I'm not sure if you've been able to figure that out, but yeah. Now, for like I've never had kids. I've never lost a kid, but I feel comfortable saying that the worst pain possible is losing a child. I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard that wail, that cry when a parent finds out that their child is dead. I never ever want to, don't cry, on a platform, on the internet, get it together. I never want to hear that noise again. It is, anyway, yeah, I can't risk the world taking my child because no, I can't cry like that. And last but not least, I assure you, I can't trust you guys. You people who are out there raising your kids in horrendous ways while I'm putting in all the effort. By the way, I haven't put in any effort, but hypothetically speaking, I've put in a lot of effort to raise my kid well, and they have one interaction with you and you ruin my hard work. Like, I hear things about like your kid was very nice and then they started school and then they got bullied and then they got mean, and then it's like could we all just do better? But anyway, who am I to judge? I don't have kids.
I have a question for women who don't want kids, and massive disclaimer, this is not at all to convince anyone to have kids. I think it should be normalized that we don't have kids. It used to be in matriarchal societies. I've talked about that before. So please know I'm coming at it from this lens. Just something I'm generally curious about. How much is your decision to not want children because of the relationship you have with your own mother? And this is something I've thought about for years, but this book really touches on it, and I want to read a passage. The fear of identifying with one's own mother is particularly profound in daughters. Women who've had bad mothering will often get frightened. They will wonder, will I hurt like my mother? Will I get angry like my mother? And so, yeah, it's just something I'm curious about. Like, how much is your decision to not have children based off of a fear of replicating what your mother did to you and you not wanting to do that to another human being?
Gen Z is not trying to have kids. And I don't blame them. Because I ain't trying to have them little shits either. But the government is shaking in their boots because we don't want children. Our grandparents and parents are shaking in their boots because we don't want children. They keep asking why. I'm gonna tell you. Probably because we can't afford to. Y'all do know the cost of living went up 68%, but our wages only went up 18%. Y'all do know that, right? We don't even know if we're gonna have a suitable earth to raise our kids in the next 40 years, and you want me to bring a child into this world? And I'm not saying all of Gen Z, because some of y'all took the risk. Me, personally, and the vast majority of the people I know, they're not even thinking about it. Not even trying to consider it. How are we going to have children if we can't even afford ourselves? I know people that's so backed up on student loans, they just don't want to pay for that shit no more. And since the government is getting so upset about it, my honest take is the government only wants us to have children so we can go back and ask the government for help. The help that they're not even going to give us. The help that they're going to claim that they don't have. But they had billions of dollars to fund the war in Israel, though. They had billions of dollars to bring migrants across country, but our healthcare system and our school system is still fucked. Gen Z is the most unhinged, most honest, most I don't give a fuck generation there is. So you think Gen Z is gonna fall for we need to have kids to better our population? You're smoking! Because it's not happening. Everybody keep asking us what we gonna do when we get older. Who knows? Who knows if we're even gonna get older? I might just off myself before I even get that old, to be honest with you.
Now, some of the pros that some child-free people have said is the freedom to do what they want to do without having to worry about any child, and also the freedom to spend their money on whatever they want to spend their money without considering the needs of any child. Now, a lady talked about the fact that she has Nigerian genes instilled in her, and that she feels like she is not going to be able to unconditionally love her child when her child is doing some things. Now, she listed some of the things. She was talking about the fact that if the child is saying he's not going to college and he doesn't have a like concrete plan of any money, or he or she doesn't have anything that has already started any money and setting up the child for financial freedom and success in life, she's not going to be very happy. She also talked about the fact that she doesn't want a child that will like kind of stress her and have bad attitude or bad behavior. And when I was checking the comment section of our video, I saw that quite a lot of Caribbeans, Africans were agreeing with what she was saying. They were like, they thought they were weird by thinking like this, because they were like, there are some certain things that they see some children from other countries or race do that they'll be like, there's not how I will not react. Some people are like, you get pregnant when you're a teenager, you're out of my house. Some people are like, there is no how you will not go to college in this house. You would not study music. Someone else was saying that his children or our children need to do medicine, engineering, law, or nursing. One of those subjects or one of those courses or one of those fields. The person was like, there's nothing like doing music in college. There's nothing like doing music in university. And looking at the comments and listening to our video, I was just reminded of the fact that I actually used to think about raising children and thinking about the fact that your child, you can be raising the child to be a great human being, to add value to other people's lives, to just have great behavior, and the child might not respond to your training or to your mentorship. And what will you do? Would you send the person out? Would you disown the person? And I was just thinking of the heartache of doing everything you can to make sure that your child grows up to be a great human being, and then the child is not. I was just like, it's scary to give birth when the child is the baby, cute, toddler and everything, cute. But when a child starts getting to 10, teenager, adulthood, how do you ensure that the child goes on the right path and doesn't swerve to the wrong path? Because there's so much pressure in the world. There's the peer pressure, there's pressure from social media. Like when we were growing up, it was just maybe, in my own opinion, growing up in Nigeria, it was just a case of peer pressure, and the peer pressure was not influenced so much by the media, because things that we were watching were restricted in a kind of way. But nowadays, you see teenagers, you see preteens having the most technologically advanced phone. You see some of them having the wears that you don't have the money to buy for yourself as an adult. And if you have a child and you're saying, okay, you cannot get iPhone 16 or whatever, the latest iPhone, and their friends are having iPhone, having the latest gears, the latest wears, and your child begins to feel a particular kind of way, the child is not contented, and they were like, okay, I can show you where to get it. And then they lead the child to a life that you have been trying to avoid. That scenario, that whole thing scares me, because I'm not going to be like, oh, I will accept you like that. No, I kind of agree with the lady that I have the Nigerian genes that would want to try and change the child back. But the thing is, sometimes you might do everything to make the child be a great human being, be a decent human being, and nothing works. After the child has been misled, you might want to try and find ways to bring the child back to the right path, and it doesn't work. So that's one of the things that scare me about having children, because it's not just to give birth to the children, not to carry the baby as a child and oh, cute and cute, and the toddler, oh, cute and cute. What happens when the child is growing up and associating with people, and the influence of the world begins to set in? What happens? Another thing that makes me scared about having children is my family medical history. Now, there's so many things we have, so many diseases that different people in my family have had. It's essential for everyone to know their family medical history. This will help you to be aware of things that you might be able to avoid, and this will help you to know things that you might not be able to avoid, but you might be able to delay. Now, in my family, we have hypertension, diabetes, ulcer, hormonal issues, fibroid, cancer, arthritis, and mental health issues, mental illness. So when I look at the long list of diseases that it's in my family, I'm like, do I really want to have kids and be scared that they will have one of the diseases either later on in life or earlier on? I really think about that and I get anxious, I get worried. I'm like, if there was like a guarantee that my kids will not have those things. Now, yes, there's a possibility that the diseases in my family might not manifest in my children because they might tend towards my partner, husband's family history or medical history. But the thing is that almost everybody has diseases in their family. You cannot say that, oh, in another person's family, they don't have this, that. Yes, they might have. They might not have some of the diseases that have occurred in my family, but they might have their own diseases. So I don't know, it's just scary to think about because it's scary. Let me just put it like that. It's scary. If there was a guarantee that none of the diseases that manifested in my family would manifest in my kids, if there was an assurance that they will have a long, healthy life, live to 90, 80, and we start looking at the fact that accidents could happen, then maybe I might be less anxious about having children. But as a pharmacist, I'm thinking, is it worth it? Honestly, I think about that, and I don't know if I will eventually have children, but it's something I think about, and I think some people actually think about that, especially when they look at their family medical history and they see there's a long list of diseases and they are like, is it worth it? That's why some people, I think they do gene selection or something. But anyway, like I said, I don't know if I'll eventually have children. I don't know if I'll marry, whatever. But for now, I'm trying to concentrate on living my life the best way I can live. I don't want to think about things that I cannot effectively control because it just worries me the more and then make me anxious and trigger a lot of other things that I don't want. So right now, the goal is to just concentrate on my purpose, concentrate on my dreams and goals, and we'll see what happens in the future. Anyway, that is my own thoughts about this topic. I don't know what you think about some of the reasons some people have given for being child-free. I don't know what you think about people who are older that do not have kids and are telling people that are younger that they do not have kids and they don't regret it. I don't know what you think about some of the pros of not having kids. Do you want to have kids in future? Are you child-free now, but you want to have kids in future? Or have you decided that you don't want to have kids at all? Or what was your reason for deciding that you don't want to have kids at all? And what does your life look like because you don't have kids? I would love to hear what you think about this sort of. So please leave your comments in the comment section so that we can get this discussion popping. Now, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are not yet subscribed and you like videos such as this, please consider subscribing by clicking on the red button that says subscribe. And don't forget to click on the bell notification icon by the side so that you're notified anytime I upload videos. Now, with all that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.